Welcome. I think I fucked something up there. I pressed shit. I was singing into the microphone and nothing was happening. I was trying to do Batman. I was trying to do a Batman intro, and then I realized I hadn't put myself in the room. And anyway, no one missed anything. No one missed anything as far as
makes a change, man. Makes a change.
My standard Ask Pros intro. What's going on, dudes? Welcome to this. It's like an Ask Pros extra of some description. We had some shit to say, so we thought, well, let's just kind of get together on a podcast and say it. We've sort of been chatting over Facebook groups and stuff like that. So anyway, we're all here. We're all in the room. We're waiting on Scunny Mike. I'm joined, as always, by Dan Potsy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Max, mate. This has been a while, and I'm looking forward to chatting to you two lads and Scunny, of course, when he jumps on.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of structure today, so we'll. Not that we ever have any fucking
standard, innit? Yeah,
structure anyway, and rage a lot. Matty Riz, what's going on, bruv?
I'm good. About 5 vodkas deep, so I'm ready to go, bruv.
It's like half 7 here. I just got off Cannon Fodder TV. If anyone wants to sort of go and catch up with them on YouTube, good little bit of debate about where Arsenal's at. And, as hard as we try at the moment, guys, as hard as we try, it's difficult not to have these conversations about Arsenal that are shrouded in a bit of negativity. The state of the club, the state of the squad, the realizations of where we are, even to an extent. And I'll kind of start you off with this one, Dan. I'll put it to you. Even to an extent, getting so much joy watching the kids run out against Pompey didn't fill me full of joy for Arsenal. It made me feel like, have we fallen so far that the only thing I've got to look forward to, the only thing I've got to lean on is watching our kids run around and put in a bit of effort. Talk me through your emotions at the moment, Dan. Talk me through about what you feel. If you're feeling the same that I'm feeling at the moment, where, the game's coming up against West Ham, and my desire to get up in the morning and watch football at the moment has never been lower.
Yeah, man, it's hard times, man. It really is. And I think that the main thing for me and what you've just said there is that the young players are the only positive this season that we can even have. And this is what makes me laugh, is that I've spoken to Manny a lot about this, and this is kind of why we wanted to come on here, was the pure fact that we both said that we're done with this team. We're not done with Arsenal. We're done with this team. And the reason we're done with this team is it lets us down. And it's let us down with 4 separate managers now. So you can't say that it's just Arsene Wenger, Unai Emery, Freddie Ljungberg and Arteta. As much as they're to blame in their each individual way, this team has let us down. They're weak. They suck. And it's still the same players. So we look at Portsmouth the other night, and some of the youngsters that are giving their all, I can't be slating them. I'm still slating the same players that are messing up. And it's the same with Olympiacos when we went out. They're the same players that have been messing up for season after season after season. You look at Mesut Ozil, so shit against Olympiacos. You look at Luiz. You look at Socrates when he come on. You look at Granit Xhaka. But then the Arsenal fans are so dumb that all they want to blame is Leno, who's been very consistent for us this season, and Aubameyang for missing it at the end. Now, as much as I don't want to say that they were superb and that it wasn't their fault and they can't take any of the blame, I'm not looking at those dudes. I'm looking at the same fuckers that have been there every season messing up, like Granit Xhaka. What's he doing at the back, dicking around with it? David Luiz and Socrates, they're both staring at the ball. They're both looking at the man. The first goal was as bad as the second. David Luiz has left the guy in the middle. So I'm looking at these senior players and I'm done with them now. And when it looks at the fans and how stupid some of them are, they're blaming the likes of Aubameyang, who we apparently statistically would be 17th in the league without. This is just madness for me. So like you, Max, I'm finding it very, very hard to stay positive at the moment. And we've got to the stage probably around November, December, where some of us tapped out in the season. I know Manny was one of those, but we were trying to find some optimism from somewhere. And when we got Arteta, we thought maybe we can start pushing forward now. Season can still be written off, but we're still fucking up. These players are still messing up. Now, I kind of disagreed with Manny on a couple of things, just for the pure fact the other day that I'm not going to blame Arteta purely. I think that this team now need to look at themselves and just accept. We need to accept that we are fucking nowhere near good enough. This team are not good enough to get us into Champions League football.
Yep. I mean, the harsh reality is, Dan, the harsh reality is, and I think the harsh reality that you touch on, that I think so many people have kind of skipped over, right? It's 3 managers now for most of these players, almost all of these players, 3 managers. So 3 managers have been let down. And as Arsenal fans, we go and we point both barrels at the gun. We go straight away and we say it's on the manager, it's on the coach, it's on the system.
Yep.
It's not. It's on the players. It's on the squad, right? And if you want to go a level above that, how someone like Raul hasn't come under fire shows the weakness of the Cronkies. It shows the weakness of them, because in any business, in any corporate structure, failure of this degree, heads would roll from the top. In my world, in my business, I couldn't go on and I couldn't fail at this level. I couldn't fail to deliver time after time. I couldn't put up excuses and keep saying over and over again that this was the issue, or looking to my assistants or looking to my subordinates and saying it's how they organize the team. You appointed them. You brought in the players. You paid them money. Cedric Suarez's £5 million. My beef at the moment, I know he's like the most he hasn't done anything wrong for the team. The only thing he's done is cost $5 million. But it's things like this that just personify.
Very Arsenal signing, though, wasn't it? Very Arsenal
exactly.
Signing.
And that's
2
what I'm
months
getting at,
fucking
Dan.
out, mate.
And isn't that statement, in quotation commas, Manny, isn't that statement to be something very Arsenal? Isn't that something that's a real fucking thing, a real bugbear at the moment, that we just keep making things that are so us?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. I'm saying, is that not the worst factor of it? Is that not the worst thing at the club at the moment? That what we're doing, all right, I'm going to say something's going to upset everyone in the room. All right, so just get ready for it. Man, Arsenal are becoming a little bit Spursy.
Man, that's not a shock to me. Arsenal, we're basically the more successful version of Tottenham. Like we've done the same things over the years, and then people haven't noticed this pattern, right? Or they have noticed it, but they've pushed it to the back because something else has come to the fore. We get to positions where we can achieve certain things that we haven't achieved before, and we mess it up. We get into positions where, like Olympiacos the other night, just like Monaco the year, with when Giroud and that miss and whatnot, we get into positions where we are on the cusp of something, and then that Arsenal kicks in. The weakness, the inability to hold on to leads, the inability to show a little bit of mettle and a little bit of mental strength to get over the line. That's been us since we moved to the Emirates. If you look at it, right, over the years, when we beat Leicester, right, the year that they won the league, if you look at the table then, that was our way back into the title race. Then what did we do? Then you go back to the Eduardo injury. Then you go forward to the semi-final against United. Then you look at what happened with Monaco when we didn't have a Bayern Munich or a Barcelona. We had an opportunity to move on into the Champions League. What did we do? We fucked that one up as well. This is what we do. People need to accept that until certain things change, this is what we are. We get into positions and we fuck it up. Look at last season. Had an opportunity to get into the top 4 via the league, messed that one up. Had a final opportunity to get over the line against Chelsea, and look what we did. This is what we do. This is who we are. Forget about the Highbury Arsenal. The Highbury Arsenal died a long time ago. I was just having this
conversation.
About
the fact that what Arsenal was, this looking back to the past and trying to compare what Arsenal is now compared to what Arsenal were.
We're the London version of Liverpool.
Thank you. I said this last night. That's exactly what we are now.
We are the London version of Liverpool.
And we're supposed to be laughing at Liverpool. We're laughing at Liverpool. Why?
Hold on, Potts. We're going to get to that.
Trust me, we're going to unpack that one.
We're going to get to that. But all the things that we used to laugh at Liverpool fans about, them always looking to the past and the 80s and the 70s when they were all conquering and dominated and winning leagues and winning Champions Leagues. We are that now. Because what have we got to look back on that is remotely, you know, that you can look back on with pride? It's things back in 2004 and 2005 and 6. That's the only thing you can look back on with any
we
pride
got FA.
whatsoever.
There's FA Cups in there that I
I
can
don't want
look
to.
back on. There's good. They're good days out. Look, you can be an FA Cup lover or an FA Cup hater, Manny. It's still a cup. It's still a trophy. There's only
Listen.
4 of them. Only 4 of them available per year.
Only
and we
4
won
of
a
them
couple
available.
them.
But Max, we've done that before.
No, I know.
Do you know what I mean? We've done it
pussy.
before.
It's not new pussy. It's just
really
going
not.
and just going and dipping an old pussy that we've had before. We want new pussy.
Exactly.
We want that
It's
top
doing the same
line
things that we've done.
Champions League pussy. We want that.
It's doing what we've done before. Okay,
Tastes
winning
like
FA Cups. What was
chocolates.
it? What was it? Did we win 2 FA Cups in a row, or was it 3? I think it might have been 2. Was it 2 or was it 3?
It was
2.
3 FA Cups in 4 years, wasn't it?
3 FA Cups in 4 years. That's great. That's wonderful. That is, you know, but it's not something that people haven't seen before. If you go back over the years, I'm pretty sure Trev has seen us win 3 FA Cups in 4 years. Maybe, I don't know, but it's not anything new. We've won the FA Cup before. We haven't seen Arsenal do anything new since 2004. So please tell me, what is there to celebrate? What's there to be happy about? What's there to bring to the table when you're having banter with Liverpool fans or even Chelsea fans? What can you bring to the table that says, all right, this is a poker table. Chelsea bring Champions League, Europa League, Premier League titles, and Liverpool bring 2 Champions League titles. What do we bring to the table? 3 FA Cups. Tell me if that matches up, or if you're not the first person off the table.
I don't think it's even just. I don't think it's even that, Manny. I think it's like, if I think back to when we won that first FA Cup, the first modern FA Cup with Wenger. I remember Toby making a statement that at the time, I think it's lucky that we weren't podcasting at the time, because I think, you know, Arsenal Twitter would have blown up. But at the time, Toby said something along the lines of, this is the worst thing that could happen to the club, because it's papered over cracks and it's given them a false idea of that, you know, somehow this club is in a massive, massive decline. You know,
Max, hold on. Just 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you, bro. I'm going completely off topic. Can we all say a fucking congratulations to Toby, who just had a beautiful baby boy? Him and his wife had a beautiful baby boy.
Preach it, man. Preach it.
Beautiful baby boy. Congratulations to him. I bet he's got loads of fucking sleepless nights at the minute. But congratulations to him, his wife, and his first son, Hugo. We're happy with his little brother. Man, it's a beautiful thing.
And he's named him Jack, Super Jackie Ware.
Congratulations to him, Max. I know you're happy about having a new nephew around the place, man. So
I don't really give 2 fucks, to be honest. Right now, it's a ball. Right now, it's a ball of nothing. It doesn't have a face. And the funniest thing is, man, it came out very, very dark skinned. So Toby sent me a message, and I was like, fucking hell, mate. Manny's been to town and sorted your wife out.
No, I didn't. Leave me alone. I've never been to Australia.
It has since lightened. It has since lightened in complexion and has gone back to being Caucasian. But there were some fears there for a while. Anyway. Yep.
Continue, Max.
Congratulations to Toby. But just to go back quickly, what I was saying before, at the time, Toby thought that winning that FA Cup was papered over the cracks and gave Arsenal or gave the board a reason to think that maybe the club wasn't in the level of decline that it was. You know, even if you go back through the other FA Cups, yes, they're great days out, and I love an FA Cup and I love an FA Cup run. You know, and I love going into an FA Cup final against a team like Chelsea and winning against a team like Chelsea. But, you know, I don't know, as time goes on, I wonder if you would prefer at the moment to be challenging, at least challenging around the top over winning a League Cup or winning an FA Cup. It's an interesting concept. I know it kind of gets thrown around a lot. Some people really love it. Some people don't love the FA Cup. Some people sit on the fence. Damn, right now, if I was to say to you, let's say this season hasn't happened, or let's project into next season. let's project into next season. Would you prefer a nice long cup run, finishing 6th and not really challenging around the top 4? Would you rather to be in and around that top 3, top 4 area, challenging for the season, being competitive, being proud of your team throughout the year, enjoying watching all the games throughout the year, no FA Cup run and no Europa?
Mate, it's all about challenging. It's all about top 4, and we have fallen. Have we fallen so far as the title of this? And I think it's good because that is exactly what it is. People are happy with a cup run, but I don't think there's many out there now that would tell you that they would not want to be challenging 2nd, 3rd, or 4th within kind of 6, 7 points of the title. And it's interesting for me because you bring up what Toby said about the FA Cup. I guess you mean the FA Cup against Hull under Wenger, is that right? Hull City, right? So that season was the season I said that I wanted him to go. Okay, I wanted him to say, "Yep, I've won my final kind of piece of silverware, and now I've won something. Everyone can shut up. Let me go, and it's all good." Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola were available and were happy to come to Arsenal, right? So let me ask you this: if we would have got a Pep Guardiola or a Jurgen Klopp, would we still be in this situation? Because I don't feel that we've already said there's 4 managers that have all tried and failed with this team. What would be the difference between a Jurgen Klopp and a Pep Guardiola, other than the obvious?
Same board, Dan.
Would it be the same? Exactly.
It's the same board, Dan. It's the same board making the same bad
recruitment.
decisions.
It's the same idiots recruiting these twats like Xhaka. Would we have had a Xhaka and a Mustafi under Klopp? Yeah, we probably would have. So is it all of a sudden we've got a Klopp and a Guardiola and we're saved? Because it's taken 5 or 6 years for Klopp, and it probably would have taken 4 or 5.
We would have been a better team for not having the Emery era. I think that was a mistake that the board made. You know, if you go back and you look at everyone's initial reactions to Emery's signing, none of it was like, you know, everyone losing their shit, being fucking ecstatic about it. He then kind of proved us wrong for 6 months. He fed us enough, you know, throughout that nice unbeaten run that we started to come around. And naturally, as Arsenal fans, we sing up, we start supporting. You know, so would we have been better off if we had hired one of those guys from the off and transitioned out of the Wenger era into another big name manager? Yeah, we would have. But it's the same fucking board, and it's the same signings, and it's the same contractual situations. And this is my thing, Manny. I want to kind of throw this to you because I haven't really heard I know your opinions on it, but I haven't heard your opinions on it publicly. I've heard Dan's opinions on it publicly on a couple of different podcasts. The argument that got had, I don't know if you watched the Potts preview a couple of previews ago, but Claude and Lee had a ding-dong battle over Stan Kroenke and over whether it was actually Kroenke's fault, right? And I'm really interested, Manny, about what you think on the concept that if the Kroenkes have no other control in the club other than the fact that they wield the axe for their executives, if they have no other control other than that, can it not be said that the Kroenkes have failed dismally just by the sheer fact that Raul seems to be bulletproof and has no pressure put on him to succeed?
The Kroenkes have never put pressure on anybody to succeed, mate. They didn't put pressure on the previous manager. They didn't put pressure on Gazidis. They basically allowed them to run amok and to run this club into the ground. So even thinking that, you know, Raul and Edu and then Hasfami and Vinay and all those guys are under pressure is laughable because they're not. The Kroenkes are basically, they're in America. They've got better things to do. So they put people in charge, you know, they expect them to do the job. You guys know the football. We're going to be over here. If you need approval for certain signings, we may or may not give it to you. But for the most part, we're over there doing our own thing. That's who the Kroenkes are. The Kroenkes are sugar daddies that aren't home. Do you know what I mean? That's who they are. So there's no pressure on anybody. And I wonder if, you know, the Edus and those guys are putting pressure on Arteta because he probably has a free reign at the minute. And even if things were to genuinely get bad, he probably would still have a free reign because there's no pressure from the guys at the top. It's not filtering down. It's not filtering down to the bottom. players don't play that they have any pressure. So why would Arteta be under any pressure? So no, they're just.
I mean, we're talking about systemic failures across a corporate business.
Yeah,
You know, across a structure. Like, let's even just remove the football in its entirety. Any business that was delivering this level of decline over this period of time, bringing in people who were failing, you know, the fact that we brought in Mislintat back out the door, you know, who was meant to be who was meant to be the savior of the football club, because he was the guy who was actually going to be able to go and get the players to suit the current model, right?
Yeah.
Not going and buying Galacticos, not dealing with you know, the super not coaches, what are they called? The fucking cunts who sign the players.
agents.
Fucking thank you. You know, not as I point at you, Manny, like, you fucking give me the answer, cunt. But, you know, not dealing with super agents. You know, Mislintat was the guy who was meant to be going and pulling the gems. We couldn't get that over the line. You know, we had fallouts with Gazidis. And the interesting thing is, we'll never really know now kind of who's at fault. It's so entwined, like the lies and the web of shit that's surrounded by Arsenal is so entwined that we have no idea where the rot started and where the rot stops. The one thing that we spoke about a while ago, I think, Dan, you were on the podcast with us. If I put my finger on a point of decline for Arsenal, it's around 2008. 2008 is the last time that, in my opinion, we had a world-class team that could have or should have won the league. The Cronkies come in 2008, 2009.
I think. Sorry, go on, Manny. Go on, you go. Go on.
No, I was going to say, Max, if you look at the clubs that the Cronkies own, they're not successful. They are not successful. The only team of note that they can really speak about are the Rams. Did they get to a Super Bowl final? I think they might have. They did, and they lost that anyway.
Well, we got to a Europa League final,
and we lost that too.
And we lost.
So if you look at their portfolio, it's not about success. Their portfolio is about making as much money as possible. Arsenal is their biggest cash cow because the amount of people that go through the door on match days and the revenue and the fact that Arsenal is such a big name globally. But if you look at their business, if you look at the clubs they own, they are not successful people. They are not the people that you want at your club if you want to win titles and if you want to win European titles and if you want to be a big name out there and if you want to be successful trophy-wise. Financially, for them, that's all that matters to them. But continue. Sorry, Dan.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good. I think the one thing that everyone seems to have forgotten about for me when we went into decline, it's interesting that Max says the same sort of era that I'm going to bring up. David Dein fucked off, and it has been so shit since he's gone. Now, that wasn't just because he was Arsene Wenger's right-hand man. It was because he was Arsenal's legend, so to speak. He had been there, he'd seen it all, he'd done it all. He cared so much. And for him to then be basically forced out the door to say, look, man, your time's up. We're going to be going to a new level. And him saying, well, I can't get on the back of this and can't stick by you when watch this team go into decline, which I think it will, said a lot to me. And that was worrying. And everyone sort of said, oh, you know, Dean, we're moving forward without David Dein now. Arsene Wenger was never the same manager since he'd gone. Arsene Wenger never had that guy to turn to because Zidis was then brought in as that man, and it was a shambles and a shower of shit. And I think 2008, that was the season that Eduardo broke his leg. Was that right, Max?
Yeah,
that year. You're talking about that year, right?
It was a cracking team.
That was a good side. That was the last time that I would say we had a world-class side because there was world-class players. They were a good age. They were hungry. They were vibrant, and they had the right amount of
world-class players with world-class cover and like a mix of experienced players and a mix of people from different areas and different. It was a fucking smashing team.
We had enough quality. We had enough quality from the Highbury that had still come through. If you remember the likes of Van Persie, Fabregas, Gilberto, Flamini, Colo Torre, we still had Lehmann in his last season. So it got to the stage for me where that was the season, and then it just went to a shower of shit. And we had all these players that we know for years and years and years that were just not replacing players. And we had the Bentners and the Chamaks and the Jovinios and the Andros Santos and all these idiots that come through that were panic buyers.
No, Pods. We blew that season. We used the Eduardo injury as an excuse as to why we blew that season. If you look at the subsequent games after that, if you are title challengers, you should not be drawing 0-0 against Aston Villa and Wigan. No, we drew 0-0 against Aston Villa at home. We drew 0-0 against Wigan away. We drew 3 games in a row 0-0.
Not the man who remembers this or there's any scar tissue left behind.
I remember this shit. I remember this shit because that season had a fucking effect on me, bro. I remember this shit clearly. There is no excuse. That injury happened at Birmingham. I'm pretty sure these players have psychologists. I'm pretty sure they had a meeting about it. So explain to me how you draw 3 games in a row 0-0. After that injury, and then you're trying to tell me that it's because Eduardo got injured. No, it's because you're weak. It's because that's when the weakness began, and that's when it started. The years and years and years of failure. Years after that, we would get into the new year and we would either be first, second, or in the title race. What would happen after that? We would blow it. That is who we are.
It's interesting to kind of throw up the idea of whether or not football changed around us and we didn't change with football, or whether we made changes away from a model that worked and we inherently fell on our own sword doing that. I don't think it's something that any of us can actually really sit here and answer. We can have opinions. We can think that this may have happened, this may not have happened. But I mean, if you just look at the pure statistics of where we finished and the decline that we've had, from that 2008 period, we have been a club in decline, bar the blips of a couple of FA Cups, which, as we said at the start of the podcast, may have been band-aids on, gaping wounds. Other than that, there hasn't been a huge amount for us to be excited about, and it kind of brings us into this and guys listening, this is not going to be a nice podcast. Just so you know, this is not going to be a nice podcast.
I mean, they've got to grips with that already, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to get better anytime soon. This is one of those podcasts where we've been having some chats online and kind of looking at what the Arsenal fan base is saying. And we thought, no, you know what? We want to come online and we really want to strip it bare and have a real honest conversation. You're in a room with a couple of Arsenal fans, 3 Arsenal fans of us here, who are guys who really do. I think we look past the fandom of Arsenal, being an Arsenal fan, and not saying things that are difficult because, you might be worried that people listening might say that you're not a good fan. Well, fuck being a good fan.
Fuck being a good fan. Yeah, jinxed. Jinx.
Yeah, fuck being a good fan, and fuck sitting there and saying, no, we're a super club, we're a top club, we're a top team. One of the things that's sort of been really, really grinding me down on Twitter and on Facebook, and not that I really pay a huge amount of attention to it, but it's like the Thomas Partey conversation at the moment. And the fact that Arsenal fans seem to think that just because he has a release clause and just because we have the money to trigger his release clause, that this guy is going to look at Arsenal. Well, I mean, the release clause isn't more than the money that we've spent in past seasons. So yes, we would have the money to release the clause even if we sold 2 players.
Do you know what it is?
It's about 35 million pound, I think, 40 something million euro. Which is a good release clause for a great player. But if you're telling me this guy isn't going to be like sought after by other clubs, by better clubs, by clubs in both better positions with their soul of their club, clubs in better positions in their league, guys have to want to come to this club. And I think there's an element of, I think it's an interesting one for you to cover off, Dan, because I'm not sure how you feel about it. I think you tread both sides of the path here. But, the prestige of Arsenal, how far is that prestige of Arsenal diminishing? Is a Thomas Partey going to sit there and going to look at Arsenal And Arsenal next season, let's say it doesn't have Aubameyang, let's say it doesn't have Lacazette, is he going to look at an Arsenal and say, you know what? That's what I want to hitch my wagon to. Because Kevin Campbell said it on his podcast recently. It's a short career. It's a short career, and you have to make some good key decisions at key times. I can't see Arsenal being a smart decision or a key decision for Thomas Partey, not with the 3 years of rebuild that we're going to need to have.
Yeah, there's two sides to it, like you say. The first side is Arsenal are a huge club by the name. At the moment, we are not playing as a big club. So it's a really difficult situation because money comes into it, as it does with every single player. I think that the ambition at the moment with players still does exist. I think people do still want to come to a club that will be successful. And somebody like Thomas Partey playing at Atletico Madrid, would that even be considered an upgrade for him? Leaving Atletico Madrid. He is at Atletico Madrid, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So would that be considered an upgrade, leaving Atletico Madrid and coming to Arsenal? It would not. Would it be considered an upgrade for Upamecano to leave Leipzig and come to Arsenal? No, it wouldn't. But you look at Arsenal as a club, the history of it, and you'd say, wow, yeah, let's go to Arsenal. At the moment, they're both in the Champions League. We could be out of Europe completely. So it is worrying. It is, well, exactly. Yeah, I think we are as well. Are you laughing because you disagree, Manny, or you were laughing because you agree? What? Go on.
Are you laughing because if you weren't laughing, you might start crying?
Yeah.
I'm laughing because Leipzig at the minute is the more attractive destination. The only type of players that would really be interested in Arsenal is players like Pape Gueye from Le Havre. It's not even.
No, sorry, I'm laughing at Ryan's comment there.
Like, it's me being genuine, right? It's me being genuine because Arsenal is still a big name for certain French players in Liga and Ligue 2, right? They think it's genuinely, they look at it as there's been so many French players that have been there and been successful. Arsenal is still the big name. I can say that for sure. But to somebody like Thomas Partey, I'd rather go to fucking Leipzig. What am I coming to Arsenal for? What, to play with Xhaka and Mustafi, and to play in the library every week?
Oh, but we should re-sign Mustafi because he's a top defender now.
I'm going to come on to that. I'm going to come on to that.
We'll get there.
I'll hold fire on that.
Manny, it's interesting. Man. It's interesting what you're saying because I just said this on Cannon Fodder, which I was on just before. Where I said, if we're going to go buy people in the summer, I think Arsenal fans need to very, very heavily moderate what they think we're going to bring in. People are like, oh, let's go bring in this wonder kid. What's his name? This striker, this wonder kid. People are talking about Werner.
Oh, sorry, Timo Werner. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, people are like, oh, let's bring him in. I'm like, he's going to be £100 million and he has to want to come to Arsenal. I think, the Thomas Parteys, I even think unless the rumor is true and the Upamecano deal is signed, surely Upamecano would be looking at it now going, well, why would I leave? And if we're going to be
shit.
Yeah, if he's signed a pre-contract, he's going to be on the phone to his agent going, get me out of this now. But I think more likely if Arsenal fans are going to look at realistically where the club is, where we're going to be doing our shopping, where we're going to be playing, and how we rebuild, it's going to be Sangares. It's going to be these Guier guys. It's going to be guys out of the French league where regardless, a step up to the Premiership is still very exciting and where Arsenal still holds some prestige in France because of its history and because of its connections with France. I think that's where we're going to be looking. That's where we're going to be shopping, and that's what the team's going to be built around next season. I can't see parties coming. No, nor do I. But I think at least then. So this is another one, Dan. So the idea that that Arteta came out and released that we're on a Champions League wage structure with a now Europa League team, and that we may end up being on a Champions League wage structure next season with a team not playing in Europa League. It begs the question, people saying just go offer Aubameyang £350,000 a week to stay. It's £46 million over the 3-year contract extension. The club can't afford it. Like, the club can't afford it on the model unless you had an oligarchical owner who came in and said, here is £150 million of my money. Go pull yourselves out the shit. It's not going to happen. So the types of players that we're going to be going and getting are going to be those French league guys. I mean, right now, someone said to me the other day, Dan, you can have one player. So you can pick one player for Arsenal next year. One player in and one player out. And I said, Ozil out, Grealish in. I actually think that would. I actually think that would improve us astronomically. 100%. And I think with even that one, go down.
Cool. Sorry, I said about the number 10 role. We've all said it to death. It needs to go. And Jack Grealish, everyone says, James Maddison, Kevin De Bruyne, they don't play the number 10 role because these teams don't play. No team plays it apart from us because we're stuck with a guy on £350,000 a week who we have to force into the team, or Arteta believes we do. So he has to play number 10. There's nobody else that plays in there. He can't play in a free midfield. So we have to play with him. So for me, yes, Ozil goes, 350 grand a week, 18 million a year extra we now got. And this is what makes me laugh, Max, right? People say, we're on a Champions League wage budget. So if we're out of Europe, we're going to be on a Champions League wage budget. Let the players go then. Let them go. But we can't because we're stuck with them because nobody else will give them that money. You think anyone's going to give Mustafi 90k a week? You think anyone is going to give Mkhitaryan 180k a week? You think anyone's going to give, say, Kolasinac 125 grand a week? They're not. So we're stuck with them.
110 grand a week.
Xhaka 110 grand. These players are shit players that are not even good enough.
We took Socrates. He came in on 40,000 euros per week, and we immediately upgraded him to 100,000. We upgraded him over 50% of his wage.
It shows you how
no forethought for what are we going to do with this guy in 2 years when he's 31. And this brings me back, Manny. It brings me back to the start of the show where I was talking about the structures and I was talking about the way that we sign contracts and the way that we put ourselves into this position. And the idea that the Arsenal fan base has that we're somehow going to buy our way out of this. We are not going to buy our way out of this. Dan's got fucking coronavirus. I can see him coughing in the microphone.
I have.
We're not going to buy our way out of this. I don't think, not only do I think that we don't have the support to buy our way out of this, but it's almost like that old adage, Manny, to rebuild, we must first destroy.
Please destroy. Please.
And Manny, does that destruction start with Aubameyang?
That destruction starts with him. It ends with probably Mustafi. You start with Aubameyang and you go backwards. You work your way backwards. Really and truly, man, and the way you start the destruction is you get rid of that strike force. Let's be real here. They may have bailed us out of, numerous holes. Lacazette is not interested at the minute. Aubameyang wants to be in a Champions League team. So you start there. Then you work your way backwards. Give me a hammer and let me loose on Mesut Ozil, boy. He won't survive. He won't survive.
Do you think, Manny, that if you bought in, I'm just going to throw 3 names out there, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that if you bought in next season, Jimenez from Wolves, Grealish from Villa, and either a Sangare or a Guerre out of France, and you removed Aubameyang? I'm not saying I want to move Aubameyang because he's not good. Let's just put that there. Let's just say that it's
Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Ozil.
It's a necessary Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Ozil. If you remove those 3 players, you brought in those 3 new players, or Aubameyang, Lacazette, and for me, Xhaka. I still think Xhaka is a huge problem for Arsenal because he doesn't allow us to build a midfield that works in an athletic manner. But let's just say those 3 positions went out.
Yeah.
People would argue that all 3 of those are a step down. People would argue that Mesut Ozil is a better player than Jack Grealish, that Aubameyang is a better player than Jimenez, that Xhaka is a better player than Sangare. But do you think that the change in culture and the change in overall output would make up for the clear loss in technicality, inverted commas?
Man, the only player in there that I have a question mark about in terms of like replacement is Jimenez, right? Because we know what Aubameyang is all about. We know that he puts the ball in the back of the net. We've seen it, right? We've seen it. The evidence is there.
Jimenez has scored 16 goals this year, 15 goals this year, all competitions.
Aubameyang will outscore him.
Yeah,
Aubameyang
I know. We would see a step down. We would see a step down.
100%. But we would see a step down there. But Ozil and Jack Grealish, there is no comparison in terms of their output this season and for the last 3 years. Look at the numbers for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into Ozil because you know how I feel about that cunt, right?
So I think those 3 signings are reasonable signings for a club of our size.
Those 3 signing, Max, it tells us that we're building for something. Because in terms of us, like you said, we need to destroy in order to be able to rebuild. So how do you start that rebuild? You start that rebuild by looking at players that fans will think are a step down. That's how you start that rebuild. But really and truly, when you look at 2 of those players, Sengare and Grealish, they are a step up, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. The only step down will be Aubameyang for Jimenez. But you would be able to tell us that, you know what, we're on a step. We are, going forward and we're genuinely trying to rebuild. If fans are really thinking that we're going to go out there and get players and get world-class players that are going to instantly have an impact, you are wrong, because that's not the way even Liverpool did it. Go back and look how they did it.
Liverpool have hard-working, hard-running players. They built their team around hard work and then put little sprinkles of amazing around them.
They built their team around players like Milner and Henderson, right? Then
Van
they got
Alden.
the Wijnaldums. Then they
so
got
underrated. Wijnaldum, so underrated.
I tell you what, he's not fucking underrated by Liverpool fans. They love him.
He's not.
I love him
because they know what they're seeing week in, week out. Because they know that when Wijnaldum is in the team, he's going to give 110%. With a lot of our players, you can't see that. But what I'm saying is, if you go back and look the way Liverpool rebuilt, when Mane signed for Liverpool, technically he might have been a step down. Technically, I don't know who they had in place at the time, but Mane wasn't a spectacular signing. Neither was Salah. Neither was Salah, considering where he was. Right? Neither was Salah considering where he was, considering his time at Chelsea. When
he had already failed once in the Premier League. He had failed.
Exactly.
He had in the Premier League.
He had failed, and people probably looked at him and gone, you know what? Here we go, another 35 million, and he's probably going to fail again. But look at their rebuild. Genuinely look at it.
They got rid of Sterling and Coutinho. They had.
Yeah,
they
now
got
they've got Salah and Mane.
And you know what?
Salah and Mane, when they're signed,
I don't think Sterling would suit that. I don't think Sterling would suit that Klopp system to the same degree that Mane would.
No,
he wouldn't. And Salah and Mane, when they're signed, you wouldn't think that they were luxurious signings. But look at what they're doing. Look at the evidence on the table. Look at the evidence on the table.
Let's look at it. Let's go pick up, like Max Arnold's, from Norwich. That's a player.
Max Aarons. Max Aarons. Yeah.
Sorry, that's a player that we could go and get. Like, that's an Arsenal grade signing that we could go and get and give Hector genuine opposition for his position. And this is what I'm talking about, Dan. This is what I'm talking about, what I was saying at the start of the show, why Twitter is just killing me. Just killing me at the moment because of the mentality of the fans just constantly saying that we're going to buy our way out of here and that we're going to go and we're going to compete with these top players. We're going to bring these top players in. We don't have the football for them, Dan. We don't have the football for them. We don't have the structures for them. We don't have the team for them. I stand by what I said. Those 3 players who I just said, if you go throw Max Aarons in there as well, I honestly think if you go and put those 4 players into the team next season, we're a better team than we are this season with a supposed drop-off in technicality.
We need to look at the recruitment structure, not just the recruitment structure, the structure of what Liverpool had done under Klopp, right? Because you look at their recruitment, okay? Now, it's a lot more than their recruitment. They've got owners that have backed their manager for a start. They've got a lot of stuff happening in the background, which is a lot better than at Arsenal. But if you just look at the players and what's on the pitch and you just look at what there is that the recruitment have done at Liverpool, This is what we need to do. And you half touched on it apart from Sangare because they're all in the Premier League. So you look at Jimenez, you look at Grealish, you look at James Maddison, you look at Doucouré, you look at Nathan Ake, you look at Connor Cody, you look at Lewis Dunk, look at Adama Traore. These are all players that we can realistically sign, even if we're out of Europe.
Todd Cantwell.
Todd Cantwell is apparently an
player.
Arsenal fan. Apparently he's a gooner as well because he laughed when Tottenham missed their penalty and or gave it to the fans when he scored, one or the other. So you look at those 8 or 9 players I've just mentioned there that would all realistically be able to come. Maybe not James Maddison, but the others I think would be realistically come because I think Maddison will be like 80 million or something crazy like that. So for me, the other players won't be. So those players would be able to come to Arsenal. We don't have to look far. And who else didn't look far? Jurgen Klopp, Andrew Robertson at Hull, Wijnaldum from Newcastle, Shaqiri from Stoke, Oxlade-Chamberlain from Arsenal. Yeah, these are players that were already proven themselves to be good Premier League standard players,
and he went and for the top clubs now, but not good enough for us.
This
not,
is
not good enough for the amazing Arsenal who bowed out to Olympiacos because they couldn't get off their asses in the first half an hour to put a tie away.
And this is what we talk about mentality. This team is weak, and that's why those players you mentioned coming in, it might be a downgrade. But if Aubameyang goes, which I still think he will, the person I said that we should buy was Raul Jimenez, ahead of Callum Wilson, Jamie Vardy, Danny Ings, players like that. Yeah, that people were saying, no, this is not me, Damien. This is what people have told me. People told me on that podcast that Callum Wilson, Jamie Vardy, and who else did I just say? Danny Ings would be better options than Raul Jimenez.
Man, Jamie Vardy rejected us.
What podcast were you on, Dan? Remind me not to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even going to promote it. So.
Jamie Vardy rejected us. He rejected us to stay at Leicester.
I was outnumbered on this. I was outnumbered on this podcast, mate. I was the only one saying
hold on, you're not outnumbered here, bruv. You're not outnumbered here because I'm a fan of Raul Jimenez and what he can bring to us. The type of football that we play, we need a Raul Jimenez, a big burly striker that can score goals and hold the ball up. We don't have that right now.
Arsenal is a step up for Jimenez. Therefore, yes. Yeah, well, it's a step up in the size of the club. It would be a step up in his ability to accrue wages. You know, it's not like he's coming from a Champions League club. So, and this is kind of what I'm saying, you know, for Grealish coming to Arsenal from Villa is going to be a step up. These kids coming out of Norwich, it's going to be a step up. I just think there's a mentality change that needs to. You know what? I don't think it's going to happen. I think, I just don't see it happening, but it's what needs to happen.
Take the mentality of Wolves. You take the mentality of Wolves. Look at Wolves now, right? They've played, I think this is their 48th game or something crazy already that they've played. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but they played a lot of football, right? They're still winning games of football. And the best front three, other than Liverpool's front three, in my opinion, is that Wolves front three. Jota, Jimenez, and Traore look so good playing together. Yeah, It doesn't matter who plays or how they play together. It works because the mentality of the team is better.
Pots.
Go on, man.
They drew Olympiacos in the Europa League. Watch them get through them. Watch them do what we couldn't do.
Yep.
Just watch it. And they're away to Olympiacos in the first leg as well. They will go through. For the simple fact that they won it.
I fucking hope they do. I fucking hope they do.
Won it. They won it. Right? They won it because they're not entitled.
I thought about putting a little bet on them to win the lot. I thought about it the other day. Yeah.
Put a bet on. They will beat Olympiacos. Why? Because they won it. Because when Olympiacos go to Molineux, those players will be on it. They will understand the position that they're in. We have players right now that have never been in the position that we were in against Olympiacos last week. And look how the way they performed. Yep. But those Wolves players, the Neves of this world, the Jimenez, the Jotas, the Codys, what's that other dude's name? The Bowleys, Doherty, those guys, they will be up for it because they've never been in that position before. Yet our players, a lot of them who've never been in that position before, gave it away.
Our fans wouldn't put up with it. I'm telling you. When we don't bring in parties and we're not in for Werners and we're not in for, all these
our fans are stupid
names. All of our fans will be up in arms next season. They would be.
Stupid.
If we bought in, I'd say outside of Grealish, because I think our fan base recognizes that Grealish is a real talent. if you brought in that handful of guys who are staying into the club next year and you let the handful of talent that we've said would leave the club, our fans would go fucking spare. They would say, this is Arsenal. This is my club. We're a top club. You know, we need to be going after top players. Harsh truths. We're not a top club. We haven't been a top club for, well, over a decade. Over a decade since easily more since we were last a top club. You know, so guys, harsh truths, harsh words, and I think harsh truths that Arsenal fans need to hear. So I'm sure, as always, we'll get rinsed in the comments. We get rinsed in the comments by people, not the people in the room right now. And what are people who are in the room? Stan the Man, thank you for your comments. Rising 101, Ryan McMurray, who's
big up, Ryan.
Yep. Who else we got in here? I think that's it. That's everyone. Oh,
Max,
Glenn.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting, Max, is that the fall from grace from Arsenal as a club has been reflected in our fan base. And this will be a great segue to some of the shit I've seen in the last week. Potts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Max, you know what I'm talking about as well. And the fact that we take pleasure in Liverpool losing one game, the fact that we take pleasure in Tottenham losing a penalty shootout, the fact that that's entertainment for us. We've gone from being the standard, being the set of fans that sort of banter would be below us. Do you know what I mean? Because we were the standard.
I think
now these are our cup finals. Well, not for me, but these are cup finals for some people. You know, it's not easy to go 49 games unbeaten. Understandable. You know, but
it was 2005.
It was
2005. Get over it.
It was 2004. Do you know where I was in 2004? I was in secondary school. Yeah. Bluetooth was just being introduced in 2004.
Mini
camera phones weren't even there yet.
I had a Nokia 3310, bruv.
2000
Snake champion.
Snake, yeah.
Oh, I loved Snake. I loved Snake, right? But this is the fact that fans think that they can laugh at Liverpool for losing at 44 games unbeaten. That's our cup final now.
I got rinsed. I got rinsed on Twitter, Manny. Rinsed on Twitter and rinsed on socials for exactly what you're saying. For saying that I thought it was pathetic. I thought it was beneath Arsenal and that it was pathetic. One thing to sit there and say, I am happy that our record stands. I am. You know, I'm happy that the record stands. It's a nice thing to have. It's another thing to post up meme after laughing emoji. You know what my Liverpool fans thought? My Liverpool fans thought we were fucking ridiculous. They were like, cunts, we are 41 points ahead of you. We won the Champions League last year. Shut the fuck up, Arsenal.
This is what I want you to do, Max, right? This is what I want you to do to every single fucker who gave you abuse, right? You send them the link to this podcast and you send them the link to what minute is it now? 53 minutes and 20 seconds, all right? Personally, go fuck yourselves. And this is what I say, go fuck yourselves. To everybody who said you gave Max abuse and who thinks this is hilarious. We're 42 points behind them. We haven't won a league since 2004. We haven't done anything significant, right, since 2004. We have nothing to bring to the table. This Liverpool team, right, they've been in turmoil for how many years? Yet somehow in that time they've won 2 Champions Leagues. We've been in turmoil for less amount of time than them. What have we done? I will take the year that Liverpool have had over the 13 years of shit that we've had at the Emirates. So why the fuck are you laughing? Oh, you fuckers laughing. What's so funny? Tell me what's so funny. We're behind Burnley and Sheffield United and Wolves in the league, and you lot are finding it funny that Liverpool lost the game to Watford. We were 2-0 up against Watford and fucked it up. Yeah? Over the years, we lost 8-2 to United. Over the years, we were 4-0 up against Newcastle and fucked it up. So why are you laughing at Liverpool for losing 3-0? It was their time to lose. What have we done? What gives us the right to have a laugh? The Invincibles was great. The Invincibles was the time where I used to have daily banter with United fans. They couldn't say fuck all to me for a year. That was in 2004, back when I was in school. I'm a man now. I pay bills. Yeah, drive. I work every day. Why am I looking back at 2004? Why am I looking back at the past for? It was great. Look at where we are now. 42 points. We finished on 90 points in 2004. Wolves were at the bottom with 57 points. And we're 42 points behind Liverpool and in 10th. And you're laughing. They've won a Champions League. What the fuck have we done? What's so funny? Fuck you lot, man.
Yep. I said it in a less vigorous and more diplomatic manner, but
I love it. I love it though. I love
you
it.
go,
Fuck 'em.
you go hard, man. I even find moving on from Liverpool stuff. I even find the Tottenham stuff this week to be
Oh,
ridiculous.
don't, man.
We're behind
Don't.
them. We're behind them. Is it 4 years we've been behind them for now, or 3?
3.
Yeah, for
3
3
years.
years. This will be the 4th because we ain't going to get ahead of them this year.
Yeah.
What makes
yeah.
me laugh about this, Max, as well, right, is there's people who have put stuff on their Facebook status saying that the last 4 days, 5 or 6 days now, have been the best 5 to 6 days of Arsenal's season because Liverpool can't go unbeaten, they neither can do the treble, and Tottenham are out the cup. That is our season. That is what we are screaming about.
Do you know how pathetic that is, Dan? Do you know how pathetic that is? That's like, I'm not sure if you guys are clued in with hip hop, right? That's like when Ray J came out with a tune about Kim Kardashian saying that he hit it first. That's what that is, right? Him coming out and bragging that, yeah, but I had sex with the first. Who the hell gives a damn? Who cares? If the last 4 or the last week or so has been a celebration to you, you are a reflection of the mediocrity that is Arsenal Football Club. That is not a celebration. That is not a celebration. That is an embarrassment. The fact that that's our cup final. Whereas our cup final was going to toe-to-toe with United to see who was going to win the league. And now we are finding pleasure at Liverpool losing the game, but they're going to win the league and we're going to finish outside of Europe.
To do it days after getting dumped out of Europa as well. With that
Unbelievable. I was still getting over it, man. I was still getting over the fucking Olympiacos loss and everyone's screaming and celebrating.
Yeah, just check yourselves, Arsenal fans. Just check yourselves. Think about it. Think about where you are as a football club. Think about the fact that, and like I said at the start of this, I've got no issue with Arsenal fans being happy.
I do.
No issue. I don't have any issue with Arsenal fans being happy. I just think that it's ridiculous to go to the levels to which they went to, and for me, maybe it's because, Stan's just said down here, maybe we're overreacting a little bit of banter and memes. We're behind them, but you can still have a sense of humor about it. Stan, I do have a sense of humor about it. It's fucking like days on. And it's not just the Liverpool thing. It's the constantly laughing at fucking Tottenham, who are above us.
And do you know what the laughing at Tottenham thing is even worse?
Right on, Steve. Big Steve in the house. Be happy.
It's true.
But don't celebrate and go crazy. Absolutely.
And do you know what
I think that's the thing we're talking about. We're talking about people going so fucking over the top.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what? I was pleased when I saw that Watford had beat Liverpool. Yeah, our record, fine. That's no worries. To put statuses up and to put stuff on Twitter celebrating, ha ha ha, let's all laugh at Liverpool. And then just touching on the Tottenham thing, which I cannot get for the life of me. Yes, laugh all you like that Kane's out for the season or for a long time. By the way, he will be back on the North London derby, just to let you all know, because he always is. And so will Son, because he's fractured his arm and he'll be fine, right? So those two will be back, so don't laugh too hard. And do you know what makes me laugh? People are now saying, ha ha ha, Kane and Son are out, Tottenham are losing, St. Tottenham's Day could still happen. Fuck St. Tottenham's Day. Fuck St. Tottenham's Day. Fucking does my head in. Yeah, we finished above Tottenham. We're still shit. But does me in, mate.
Can I counter what Big Steve said and big up Big Steve as well? I don't even want to celebrate. I'll tell you why, because I would celebrate if we were second and that loss to Watford was us getting closer to the title.
Yeah, even if we were just competing.
Yeah, that's where I want Arsenal to be. I don't want to be celebrating over Liverpool losing and we're 10th. That's stupid to me. That's ridiculous to me. We're nowhere near them. So them losing does nothing for us in the present. It does something for us in the past. You can't change the past. It's happened. Yeah? So celebrate if we were Man City, where Man City are right now, and Liverpool had lost. Then you can celebrate. Then you can look forward and go, you know what? If we beat this team, then we'll be closer to them. But we're still 42 points behind them. And you're celebrating. Why? Come on. Does that sound right to you? That sounds
Right on.
fucking stupid to me.
Right on. And right on, Steve. 4 years ago, we laughed at Spurs for them being chuffed at finishing above us. We said how pathetic and sad it was. Now we're the same. Thank you, Steve. Steve's got his big boy pants on. Also, Steve, I owe Steve 2 apologies. And he didn't fucking respond to me on Twitter, Steve. But I owed you 2 apologies. Number 1 was where I said Eddie Nketiah was complete garbage and he'd never make it at Arsenal. And I did a little public retraction and I tagged you off in it and you didn't respond. And I also said that I thought Reece Nelson was the worst player I'd ever seen for Arsenal. And I thought he was particularly good in the cup as well. So those are my little retractions to Steve, because we know Steve loves the kids. Loves them.
Yeah. Don't go there again, man.
Please don't.
Do you know the other? Sorry, I missed one. The other reason that it's been the best 6 days is because we beat Portsmouth in the cup. That was the other one that someone had put on a status.
That's where we're at. We kind of said at the start of the show, isn't it a bit painful at the moment that the part that we're getting the most pleasure out of is seeing a group of Arsenal kids running around. We're back when we were meant to be backfilling our squad with these kids and they were meant to be the support act and we were meant to be developing them. Now we're going into it and we're saying, hey, Saka, you're going to play 6 full 94 minutes in a row for us, which was just ridiculous for me. We're going to Eddie and we're saying, Eddie, you're going to be ahead of a 54 million pound striker that we bought in before Aubameyang. We bought him in as the main man. But now we're gonna go to you. We're talking about putting Martinelli back into the team. It's the trajectory of the football club is wild at the moment.
And this is the thing, Max. If you said we're going to have a clear out, the players I'd be gutted about leaving would be the youngsters over the seniors. I'd be gutted if Saka left. I'd be annoyed if Martinelli left. I would even be annoyed if Guendouzi went. And yes, I would be annoyed and frustrated if Aubameyang went, because I think it would be hard to replace him. But I would much rather see any of the others go. You can probably make an excuse for Kieran Tierney for the pure fact that he's been injured and it's been a bit of a harsh reality for the lad just with horrendous injuries he's had. But the others, I would not give a fuck about if they left. And I can honestly, hand on heart, say that. And it's frustrating. We've got 3, Martinelli, Saka and Guendouzi. We're saying, please don't lose them. They're 18 and 19, aren't they? Come on, man. Crazy.
Well.
Lovely podcast. What a lovely way to start the day for me, to have such a positive. But look, do you know what? I said this at the start of the show, and for people listening to this and thinking, fuck, these guys are negative, they're not real fans, fuck you, right? We're as real fans as anyone else. I think that we've just started to have some very, very real conversations about where the club's at, what the trajectory of the club is, and how you kind of wrestle that back and how the board wrestles it back. We are only 5 points off of top 4 or top 5. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that we may be able to put together a run. I don't think it's possible, because I don't think that these players have the mentality to put on a run like that. I've got a funny feeling they're going to put on a little bit of a run and just make us think that they could do it.
They'll fuck it up.
And then fuck it all up, because that's the Arsenal way. And we've still got big games to play as well. Big games against big clubs to play. We've still got City. We've still got Tottenham. We've got Leicester, don't we? We've got Wolves. There's plenty of banana skins for us there. And the funny thing with Arsenal this season is a lot of the times it's not those games I've gone into quite worried about, because I think, you're going to come out and play. And I think Arsenal, when teams come out and play against us, we look much better. For me, when Arsenal look terrible, it's when teams are in low blocks and we don't have the technicality or the tempo or the incisive passing or the final third entry balls to actually break them down.
But you look at the 11 games.
I'm like 6 vodkas and Rubicons deep. Like, if you want to be champions, if you want to be challengers, if you want to be, recognized as a team that can go away and win a game 1-0 and come away with it with the points, you have to beat the teams in low blocks. You can't just go out there and beat the big teams. And for me, you say that we can go on a run. Sure. But when it'll come to April and a banana skin comes up, or a game where we're expected to win, like Brighton last season, we will fuck it up. Because this is the Arsenal way. And Potts, I'm looking at you right now. My bad. I'm looking at you right now because I was telling you all season that this team is going to fuck up in the Europa League. This team is not built to win the Europa League. And deep down, I was hoping that would be wrong. But the chickens came home to roost.
But
just like they
before
always
you knew
do.
it, though. But
it happened before I knew it. It happened before I knew it. That's why I was so pissed off. But this team, like Max said, they don't have the mentality when things get tight. When it's time to put together a 90 minutes where you just need to get over the line and the performance doesn't matter, they do not have it in them. Because you have players like Ozil where the conditions have to be perfect in order for you to perform. And even when they're perfect, you still find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah.
We don't have that sort of team. So for us at the moment, listen, you can go on a run if you want to. But if your eyes are opened and if you know who you're watching, you will know that they will fuck it up at some point. And then you won't be so pissed off about it.
But Manny, do you think that the 11 games we've got left, the winnable ones that everyone's saying, are West Ham tomorrow at home, Villa away, Norwich at home, Watford at home, Southampton away, and Brighton away, right? They're the ones that people are saying we can win. I don't feel confident that we're going to win them. Not
we
at all.
will.
Brighton
I feel
away,
more confident about
Southampton away.
beating. I feel more confident about beating Leicester and Wolves. They'll be open
But
games.
We will lose to Southampton, probably draw a Villa and
Brighton,
drop points
we'll
against
lose to
Brighton.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yep.
That's us. So you take points away from those 3 games, and what have you got? You've got 8th place and maybe 9th. Yeah?
Yep.
So whatever, man. We're not built for this. We are not built to go away to places like Molineux, to go away to places like Brighton and win 1-0 and be like, you know what, it's 3 points in the bag, let's move on. We don't. We're a team where we need to beat Newcastle 4-0 and we still find a way to lose to Olympiacos. So anyway, it is what it is, man.
Look, not the most pleasurable of shows for probably most Arsenal fans to listen for, but fuck
Realistic,
it.
though. Realistic.
At the Arse Bros, we don't really do this to.
Can I
Sit here and think that it's. Respond to who? Stan.
Can I respond to Standard, man?
Regarding
Ray J is not hip hop. He's R&B. But if you look at it in a global scale, people would say that it's hip hop. That's what I meant. All right? Ray J's not. Ray J's technically he's R&B, but really he's just trash.
Positivity, boys. Not much more really to go through. We kind of needed a bit of a cathartic session to speak to each other and talk about some stuff and talk about talk about some real stuff instead of kind of, I guess towing the line of the common Arsenal narrative at the moment, which, like we said at the start of the show, is to link us with every single good player who's going to be a saviour for us in the world. Guys, I think to recap, if we uncovered anything out of this podcast, we've uncovered that there are signings. There are signings that suit Arsenal and there are signings that will improve Arsenal. And that the only thing we can hope is that the Arsenal fans kind of don't get up in arms if these types of signings happen. I'm hopeful that I'm hopeful that Arteta, if he has any kind of, because let's face it, just to backtrack for a second, if you look at the investment in Arsenal on a monetary level over the last 4 years, the investment actually hasn't been bad, as in the physical monetary investment. Physical monetary investment from the Cronkies across the time they've been here hasn't actually been that bad. It's the people
But look at what we
who are
spent
bringing
it
them
on.
in. Yeah, exactly.
dreadful.
It's the recruitment. It's the style of players. It's the players that we've passed up on to go and get other players. So we can only hope. We can only hope. Manny, shut the fuck up, you drunk.
Bro, we passed on Kante for Xhaka.
Van Dijk for Mustafi, mate. Van Dijk for Mustafi.
Yeah.
Van
Yeah.
Dijk for Mustafi, mate.
So we can only
Fuck
hope that
me.
if some of these less than, we're not going out and buying Ferraris this year. We're going out and we're buying some. We need to go out and buy some Honda Civics. We need some. We need
Man,
some.
I would take Honda Civics if Arteta can get them playing.
You'd crash it anyway, mate. Don't worry about that.
No, I'd crash a Ferrari, bro. I'd crash a Ferrari, an Astra, a Corsa.
Man,
You'd crash a
you
fucking
would you
panel van, mate.
you would crash the freewheeler from the Mr. Bean series, bro.
Wait,
You're-
check it
you're-
out. I'm down
You're
driving.
tragic.
Nah, that's a Mini Cooper, man. That's a Mini Cooper.
No,
man, Mr.
I'm
Bean.
talking about the
Oh,
freewheeler,
you're
bro.
talking
The
about the blue
whip.
one.
The blue one.
Robin, Reliant,
The
man.
blue Robin Reliant. I'm with you now, man. Yeah. I'd
Okay,
crash.
you always
What was
used to
the
call it the
TV program
freewheeler.
for a Brom? I'd crash Brom.
Oh,
Brom? Remember Brom? That was a great program. I loved Brom.
that was always on before. You always used to catch the back end of it because that was the time I used to get home from school. So,
Anyway, boys, I think we're going to pull the parachute cord on this one because before we descend into despair and Manny rounds the 10 vodka mark. But to those of you who stayed with us throughout it, thank you for
7
listening.
deep, bro. 7 deep.
I tell you what, it looks like from our chat group that we're not necessarily alone in this kind of feeling. I think there's lots and lots of switched on Arsenal fans out there. I think there's lots of guys. I think generally the guys who listen to Ask Bros and tune into us most weeks have pretty realistic opinions and realistic views, because if they're listening to us every week, then they're listening to realistic opinions and realistic views. So everyone in the chat box, everyone who's been listening to us, logging on, signing in, our numbers are really launching at the moment. It's good. We're getting up to some really, really nice numbers. If any of you guys get a chance, go onto YouTube, subscribe. We're trying to build that little YouTube channel. We're getting lots and lots of views on Facebook, but the YouTube views are shit. So jump on, subscribe. Dan, Potsy, you can catch Dan on Same Old Arsenal podcast. You can catch Dan doing his Potsy's previews, which he does every week, which I absolutely recommend. He brings in fans from other teams who actually get to hear a little bit of both sides. Dan's little Twitter feeds there. He's at Dan Arsenal 87. If you want to follow Manny, you can't. He's a faceless fucking ghost. He's a myth. He's a genie in a lamp.
Baby.
Like when I visualize Manny, I visualize Will Smith in the new remake of Aladdin. That's what I think. Yeah, except way more stoned and way angrier.
Man, you could have given me something better. You had to give me Will Smith in the genie in the Aladdin. Man,
Yeah. It's what I gave you.
Oh.
It's what I gave you. You're not hard enough to be like an Ice Cube. You're really more of a Will Smith kind of a rapper for me, Manny.
See, when I punch you in the mouth, then you'll say different. Then you won't be talking shit.
All right, guys, I'm pulling the pin. We'll catch you guys later.
Before you do, once again, congratulations once again to Toby for proving that his balls do work, unlike his brothers.
Yep, my balls definitely are punching out. So. Fucking can't.
Big up Aussie kiddies, man. Salute
up.
to you, bro.
Big up. Super Jackie. Way. Good night.
Cheers, Max.